Yo, so I'm in the middle of doing some wormhole stuff. Figured I'd start up the stream. I haven't streamed for a while, been super busy with work and other real life responsibilities. You know how it goes. But I get a little bit of free time this morning, so come with me, use some wormhole stuff. Next time I'll show closing out the wormholes and doing what we can to ensure security while we're doing all this stuff in the wormhole. We are pretty vulnerable. If you don't know, a wormhole, there is no local chat, so you can't see who's in there with you. So you have to repeatedly mash the D scan. In my case, in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, you're seeing one of my alts that's paying attention to the only wormhole that's currently open in the system, which is my static to low sec. That wormhole is end of life. I'm not likely to get anybody come visiting through, but it's not impossible. So I figured I would stick a dude on there with sound activated so we can hear it as things are going. So other things that are going on right now, you can see I've got another character that's peacefully mining away on a gas site. Figure may as well make some money while I'm making some money. So I've got a little bit different of an approach to wormholing. I'm doing this in a golem, and for as far as I'm concerned, the golem's bastion capability is stellar. But more importantly, the micro jump drive is on a Marauder gets a bonus to duration. So you don't have to wait as long before you can use it again. So if shit gets tight, you can come out of Bastion and MJD off. None of the rats in here will scramble in the, as in with a warp scrambler. They'll only disrupt. What that means is you can still MJD off. No problem at all. Obviously, a player coming to visit may have different things in mind. Stop shooting at my drones. Goes kaboom. So I am trying to keep my eyes out for potential baddies coming in to disrupt my fun times. So in essence, all I do is every once in a while I glance at the probe scanner, make sure that that there's no new cosmic signatures. If new cosmic signatures show up, then means it's time to get out of Dodge, get safe, figure out what they're doing. Sometimes all they're doing is just coming through for exploration funsies. They come want to do the relics. They want to do data sites, or maybe they're just sightseeing. In any case, I don't want them there, but you know, I don't mind sharing if I've got nothing better to do, but I err on the side of caution. The golem that I'm running is a little bit of a loot pinata, and I'm knocking on wood right now. I'm hoping that none of you watching this want to come hunt me down, but I've yet to lose one, so knocking on wood. Get him, boys. So one thing you might notice is that I don't have Bastion on auto repeat. In other contexts, that has gotten me killed. So the reason why I do that, man, those explosions are cool. The reason why I do that is because if you do get tackled in a Marauder and you have an MJD, sometimes the best thing to do is to Bastion up. When you Bastion up, you break tackle. So all of their warp scramblers, all of their webs, all of that stuff drops, and it lasts for precisely a minute. So if you can time it in your head, great. If not, you may need to work on that. But counting down that 1 minute timer, as soon as you come out of Bastion, you can activate your MJD, and if they're not paying attention, after 10 seconds you bounce to 100 kilometers off. So it is a good way to escape. But if you're under heavy neut pressure, as in they've got neutralizers on you as you're trying to fight, then going into a second Bastion mode can get you killed, because unless you've got a lot of cap, you've got cap batteries, or you've got a significant amount of cap boosters, that sort of thing, then you can run out of cap fairly quickly if they're doing the right thing with the neutralizers. So it is something you should be careful with. Boom. Out of Bastion. Now what I do is I drop my mobile tractor units, and more often than not I don't have to bounce around with the MJD at all, but occasionally I do. And when I do, sometimes you have to leave the tractor behind, and so as long as you've got it bookmarked, you can come back and retrieve all the loot. Or if you're in a different site, you get to retrieve everything else. I have made the mistake of not bookmarking the wormhole before, or sorry, not bookmarking the tractor before, and that's a pretty painful feeling, knowing that you lost, you know, whatever amount of ISK because you derfed the bookmark. So another thing, another reason why I like the Marauders, I mentioned the MJD timer. So when you first warp into a site, that's where everybody else would warp into as well. And so what I do is I align off to some um, intelligent location. Need to land within range of the baddies. Need to land within range of tractor, and then bastion up wherever I land. The reason why I do that is because it makes it a little bit harder for a player that might be looking for me to actually get me, because I'm 100 kilometers off from the landing site. Hard. If you've lived in wormholes for any length of time, you know that the friggies, or the ships, love to go after your drones. See how the top one is taking damage right now? So there's actual timing to that. You can launch your drones and draw aggro with them, and then pull them back in time before they get chewed on. However, expect to lose quite a few. Pretty expected and normal. Boom. Yeah, go for upholders early on. Again, if you know much about wormholes, then you know these guys will neutralize your cap. So killing them off early is a good thing. They also just happen to be the trigger for the next wave in this anomaly. How's that for a face? Is that a face only a mother could love? Even though one of the friggies is aggroing my drone, leaving them out for the time being, he doesn't seem to be applying his damage very well to that drone. Yeah, see the neutralize? I don't like you. Why you neutralize me? Wave up. The preserver on this one, this is a fortification frontier stronghold. The preserver in this final stage is sort of the trigger for the end. Notice how after this guy dies, the signature for the fortification frontier stronghold I'm in right now goes away. Right now there's 3 of them. Now there's 2 of them. So what that means is somebody that does get into the wormhole won't be able to immediately, oh, darn it, I shouldn't have fired off that last one, won't be able to immediately locate where I am. Because the signature is no longer there, they would have to drop combat probes to find me. So being aware of little tricks like that certainly helps survivability in a wormhole. Yeah. I mucked up. I should have reloaded to Furies there, because that would have allowed me to more quickly engage this guy, the Upholder battleship, in this final stage. Living in a C3, I don't get to see the larger ship explosions, but these battleship explosions are pretty spectacular. PCP did a great job readjusting. Let the drones finish him off. I'm not mashing the D-scan as much as I would normally, simply because I'm pretty comfortable right now. I think this is okay. This wormhole hasn't had anybody come through it yet. If I didn't have this wormhole monitored, then obviously I'd be a lot more cautious. I probably wouldn't even have the golem out. That's recipe for losing it, keeping it out when you've got wormholes you're not watching. I created a bookmark. As I said, I have in the past made the mistake of not grabbing the bookmark or the tractor and all of the wrecks. That's a pretty bad feeling. Feels bad, bro. one of my other characters is slowly mining this C32. Pretty much the best gas that spawns in here. It's not incredibly valuable, but she'd be just cleaning up after me right now. And this way, make some more money. And maybe at one point, I'd like to try something different, right? Try doing some production. And having some gas lying around to do so would be kind of requisite. It's kind of important. Okay, so NJD off. Still within range of everything. Faster up. Drop the MTU. Bookmark the MTU. Ahaha, mister. It is a pretty game. Small baddies are in range. Watch how quickly they go after the drones instead of me. Go. There's two ways I've found you can tell they're going after your drones. One, you lose drones. I mean, that's kind of obvious. But it's no fun to lose them. So if you keep your eyes on them and they start taking damage, even if the small baddies don't show yellow on the overview yet, that means they've been targeted, and the tick just hasn't updated your overview. So you can keep your eye on the damage bars of your drones, and may be able to get ahead of that damage. Now the cruisers are going after. See how these guys haven't yet targeted the drone, or targeted me? Good. Get him. Get him, my little warriors. Now the small baddies are retargeting my drones. Now, some people say that doing C3 in a golem is overkill, but I don't agree with that. I like flying the golem. It's good times. It does what I want it to do, and it does it very well. It does it in a way that I can tactically improve my my position in case I do get jumped. The MJD bonus on this thing is just a gift. It is a gift. Okay, now this time I have to watch my ammo usage, because at 1 left in the chamber, that's when I want to reload. Reload to Furies, start taking the I can kill off. Okay, notice this SIG is gone now. Kill off the final upholder, with the Furies, and then I can immediately start laying the Furies onto the battleship. Furies don't apply the best damage to medium-sized targets, but they do well enough for this sort of thing. Boom. Okay. Now on to the battleship for the missiles. The drones, in the meantime, can do their thing. The battleship is outside the range of my drones, so I just let them do their own thing on the defenders that are close to me. Character is cooking along. He's got about 27.7 mil worth of gas he's huffed, sitting in his hold. That's about half of what this site provides in terms of C-32. There's a second one of these. Well, I should get. If I can get them both puffed, that's 120 mil approximately. Yes. One interesting thing, in real life, gas is compressed quite well, but if you've ever tried compressing gas, it doesn't work in EVE. I don't quite understand the reasoning behind that. I can take incredibly dense things like Arcanor, and I can compress the living crap out of it. But gas, nope, can't do that. That would be bad. I find that kind of amusing. Good Tim, my pretties. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm letting the drones do the work on these guys. So I try to knock them down into structure. You'll notice that sleepers don't have any shield. So they go armor, then structure, and then boom. And the drones do a pretty fair job of chomping through the structure, and not so good at chomping through the armor. So if you can knock them down into structure and then just let the drones finish them off, and be a little bit more efficient. If that's not what's important to you, then do it as you wish. There's a billion ways to skin this cat. Nope, I want to go for. Obviously, with just light drones, it's limited amount of damage, so it can take a little while. But what I do is I just let them do their thing, and then if it comes down to it, and all of the other guys are in structure, I let the missiles do the talking on some of the final ones just to clear it up. They say time is money. I don't quite believe that. Time is time, and how you use it can result in money or can result in whatever else you want, fun. So if you want to clear the site out quickly, you can just missile and drone them all to death. Or if you want to be a little bit more ammunition efficient, or you just like efficiency in general, then you can do that mix of drones and missiles. Okay, I did bookmark it. This. It. Next. rinse, repeat. I pick an angle, see where the rats are. I pick an angle, align to that. After I get remotely close to that alignment, activate the MJD, and that should put me within range of the baddies and of within range of the tractors. Good. Nope. Wrong tractor. Now, if I dropped drones at this point and let the drones do the talking, unfortunately, the small baddies would nearly immediately retarget the drones and kill them off before I would be able to retrieve them. Even with 2, those defenders do a lot of damage. They'll easily take down a couple of light drones. This one's stuck up against the structure. See that? Yeah, he ain't going nowhere. Still gonna die. Okay, so drop drones, target the small duders close by, and then you'll see they start targeting my drones very, very quickly. So pull them in before I lose those guys. I'm very attached to my drones. I don't know, maybe I'm more attached than I should be, but loves me my drones. So as soon as they no longer, as soon as the small baddies retarget my ship, then you have a certain amount of time before the small baddies will retarget your drones. So you put them back out there and let them have their way with the small baddies. Generally, it seems that when one of the small baddies dies, that's roughly the time it takes. So the time it takes to kill one of the small baddies with the drones is the time it takes for them to care about retargeting. So right now, you can see that they're still shooting at me, right? They're still red. So one small baddie down. Next up. These fortification frontier strongholds go pretty quick. You can see he started retargeting my drone. He's not applying much damage to him, so I'm just going to leave him out there for now. If he was applying better damage to my drone, I would obviously pull him back in. So, yep, preserver down. You'll see this fortification frontier stronghold go bye-bye. Yep, okay. So now we're safer. Not going to say safe. Never truly safe in a wormhole. Next up is the upholder for obvious reasons. Drones finish him off. Die, upholder, die. Still looking good. So the fit I'm running on this golem may be a little unusual. I don't have to care as much about tank. For one, I'm in a C3, so things aren't quite as hectic here. They can. There's I believe it's a sleeper relic site that drops 3 upholder battleships, all that neut, 2 neuting cruisers, and then 2 warp disruption neuting all the rest of that frigates. So it can get a little bit rough. You have to approach it tactically. But this has been a pretty good fit to me. I am pretty happy with it. Just in the interest of efficiency, you don't necessarily want to. You don't want to keep your cap-consuming modules like your shield booster, that sort of running. Even in a pulsar, where there is a bonus to that, it's still better to have some cap than not. Cap is life, as they say. No, go for this one. You can see the pulsar effect there in the background. Bothered bastard up for this last night. Gas dude is nearly full. Kick off one of the harder these outpost frontier strongholds are a little bit tougher than the ones I just completed. The fortification frontier strongholds. They start out with a battleship and 3 guns, and those guns do pretty good damage. Watch the damage notifications scroll by. See what I mean? Battleship fatty, 3 guns. So I aligned right in between 20 and 30 from roughly this distance, because that seems to give me the best positioning when I MJD off. Get my alignment up. And bounce. See how much damage those sentries are doing? They're doing like 400 plus damage. Okay. So I'm actually a little bit too close. The sentries are continuing to shoot at me because I'm within 90. So I'm just going to slow boat to outside of 90 kilometers. And outside of 90 kilometers, those sentries will no longer target you. Sorry, I should say they'll no longer engage you. Still be targeted. But that helps abate a lot of that damage coming in. Ooh, I'm down to half shield. Save me! Save me, Bob! Outside of Bastion, the Marauders still can do a fair amount of boosting. Take a look, that's 1454 HP per cycle outside of Bastion. But watch what it looks like once I'm in Bastion. Okay, you can see the sentries no longer target, or no longer engage me. I can stop the ship, Bastion up, drop the tractor. This part is critical. Make sure you book one. Okay, so now I'm in Bastion. Take a look at the new stats. 2793, almost 2794 per cycle of the shield booster. That's a lot of boost. So still nothing has come through this wormhole I've got my eyes on. That's a wormhole to low sec, and it represents my my static. So once that dies, a new cosmic signature will pop up. But as long as I don't warp to it, even if I scan it down, as long as I don't warp to it, then it's not going to immediately generate the K162 signature in the target system. So as long as I don't warp to it, then I'll be able to kind of do my wormholing in peace. Okay, now it's within drone range. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask in chat if you're watching this stream. Obviously, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can drop comments down below. I do quite a bit more than this. This is just something that I do for fun when there's nothing truly exciting going on in my other identities within the game. So I do have I've got Titan, I've got Super, I've got a whole bunch of other stuff, and but I do fun things in the game that, I guess you can look at it as endgame content. There's really no such thing. I mean, if you want endgame content and you believe having a Titan is endgame, well, there's a lot to owning a Titan, and there's a lot of interesting things you can do with the Titan. Hey, my wormhole dude is full. Okay. So one of the things that people do is they take their Titans out with 30 of their closest friends, and hot drop people that they don't like. That's fun. Don't get me wrong, but that's not. There's nothing tactically interesting about that. It's still fun. You get to blow stuff up, get some kill marks, all that sort of thing. But really, the fun with Titans comes when you start doing stuff on your own when there's actual danger, when you can actually be hurt. With 20 of your closest friends, the likelihood is you're not in any real danger unless you're in a Ragnarok, unfortunately. Okay, so I'm sending him back over there. Okay, now I have to withdraw my drones from the main dude simply because those 4 frigates would eat him for lunch. So what I do is I kill off 2 of the frigates with drones, or sorry, with missiles, and then let the drones do the talking on the rest of them. The 2 battleships can really do some damage. They are pretty hefty. The tank on the golem is far and away enough to handle. Some would say overkill, but I like the flexibility the MJD presents. To me, that flexibility is absolutely key. Okay, one little baddie down. Second little baddie. Hey, Mr. Tarrington, it varies pretty dramatically. Right now, there's quite a few signatures. When I first started this, there was, 10 combat signatures in here. And so with what I'm doing right now, it'll likely pull somewhere on the order of maybe 800 mil to $1 billion for a couple hours work. So it's actually not bad, given that it's a low-class wormhole. I'm not likely to be visited. I've done the smart things as far as trying to lock the wormhole down, and so I don't have so many visitors. But it's not absolutely perfect. You can lose ships this way, but if you're allowed to do this in peace for a while, yeah, you can easily walk away with 800 mil, $1 billion. If you're doing other stuff in as well, like you can see that I've got some gas cloud harvesting. That's C32, so it's fairly valuable. One of these clouds is worth approximately 60 million ISK. So if you layer on things like that, you can easily exceed 1.2, 1.5 billion for a few hours. But the time isn't always ripe. Sometimes there's too many wormholes, and you know that difference, that threshold of laziness, whether or not you want to go ahead and close out all the holes, whether or not you want to, whether or not it's worth it, the effort to close out the holes, or whether the risk is too high, or given the types of wormholes, like if you've got a Thera wormhole, you can close that out, but you run a pretty fair risk. If you look at the kill board, there's plenty of rolling ships that die that way. Being in a C3, having, oh no, that's Ralph. Ralph is dying. Come back, Ralph. Oh, Ralph died. Yep, Ralph died. But yeah, you're absolutely correct. Having multiple accounts makes ISK making and pretty much everything else in Eve easier. You do have to spend some time kind of learning how to coordinate all the little bits and pieces, right? Like right now I've got things that are relatively easy to do. There's no significant action I need to put into the other 2 clients that I have running. Right? So the one that's watching the wormhole, he's literally only watching the wormhole. That's what he does right now. So if I hear whoop, 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 I know I've got some visitors, right? So definitely having multiple accounts is helpful. Are you an alpha or are you omega? The reason why I ask is because you probably already know, but if you have an alpha character you can only have one alpha character logged in at a time. There's some tricky ways around that, but oh, there you go. Yeah, see, I don't need to tell you anything then. What do you like doing in the game? For me, this wormhole stuff is really kind of a break from my main interest, which is all about PvP, different types. Yeah, one of my favorite things to do in the game is Black Ops. So if you take a look at my YouTube channel, I've got just a couple videos. Oh, there you go. Yeah, thank you. let me say thank you, because without folks flying Logi and Faxes in fleet, it's rough on us. So thank you for what you do. Yeah, there's something about ratting. I mean, I've been playing the game since 2003, and likewise, it's just there's something cathartic about sitting here and making things blow up and earning some money. Not only do you get to play with the cool toys that you can afford because of all the money that you're earning, but it's fun. CCP did great with this game. It's there's so much to it, and limiting yourself to just PvP because you're no Care Bear, that sort of thing, I think that's missing a number of points and missing out on a lot of what makes EVE pretty awesome. Bastion out. Store my loot, and let me just double check that I have bookmarked. Yep. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and run one more of these Outpost Frontier Strongholds. But you've been in the game for a while, so you know that the cans expire after a certain amount of time. So once I finish off this next Outpost Frontier Stronghold, I'm going to run back and grab the Noctis and salvage up. In Wormholes, a big chunk of the value, and you'll see in a bit, a big chunk of the value comes from the salvage of the baddies. The baddies drop blue loot. Blue loot is stuff you can sell to NPC market orders. You probably already know that. But in addition, the salvage that they drop is useful in building Tech 3 stuff. So where is it? There it is. So yeah, in the Wormhole, salvaging is certainly a big component of making the money. And if you wait too long, then the cans expire and all that money go bye-bye. Yeah, I kind of did the same thing. Wormholes, I used to explore a long time ago. Okay, see how I'm outside of 90 kilometers from those sentries? So now they'll stop targeting me once the next tick hits. I can Bastion up. Drop my tractor. Again, very important, bookmark it. Tractor 9. But yeah, so I started out before exploration was exploration as it is right now. Back when you had to care a lot more about things like probe placement. Probes were not reusable, so you'd launch them and then they'd expire. You'd have to fly around with 1,000 probes of the different types. And that was fun, but it wasn't it wasn't easy for people to get into, and so it didn't have the penetration that CCP wanted, right? So they made it much easier. It's so much easier now. But when they introduced wormholes, one of the first things I did is went in with some corp mates, thinking that hey, we're a bunch of badasses in various remote rep battleships. We got this. We did not have it. We died so quickly, it was ugly. Oh, nice. yeah, so the experience nowadays is so much smoother than it used to be. So glad to see that you're sticking around. It still keeps my interest, but that's partially because I do so many other things in the game, right? As I said, the wormhole stuff is only one part. Really what I'm doing in here is taking a break from the PvP stuff or the other PvE stuff or the market, blada blada. All the rest of that. So it's something different to do, and has its own, as you were saying, there's something cathartic about sitting here and blowing stuff up and earning money. A couple days ago, we had out a cap fleet that I couldn't stream. We had a bunch of Titans, a bunch of Supers, and I was told that I shouldn't be broadcasting it. I've got some other layouts that help hide stuff, but you know, FCs can be a little bit persnickety. Are you in an alliance or corporation, or do you fly with others? What do you do in the game? More out of curiosity than anything else. This corporation. Oh yeah, too afraid. It's wise to be cautious. There's some groups, you know, all of them just as well as I do. Groups like Code, but there's others that have no qualms about, you know, kicking you in the teeth and taking your stuff. And losing the jump freighter is painful. So you probably paid something like 9 billion for it, somewhere in that range. So being old in the game has its privileges. I got my jump freighter back when there were only 3 billion. Oh, you're with Pandemic Horde. Nice. We're actually friends in alternate realities. My main is in Northern Coalition. Flies with burning napalm. Yeah. Yeah, but they're expensive, but the utility is just second to none. Being able to undock from Jita and jump to your low-sec Citadel or something like that to move your stuff, that's so awesome. I also need to do my PI stuff. One of the things that I do in this wormhole, as I said, just trying to do different things, right, is I do planetary interaction for more for experience doing it, just to do something different. There's a fair amount of money in it in the right place. One of the cool things about wormholes is that the PI in there is as good as it is in nullsec. So you can actually make some good money if you've got the right hole. In my case, I can produce gel matrix biopaste with the stuff that I have in here, and that's used to make implants of various sorts. So a fair amount of money in that, but it's so clickety intensive. Yeah, you guys have citadels everywhere, just like we do, so makes logistics safer and easier, certainly. And thank you once again, because you know the bigger alliances can't survive without a good, solid logistics backbone. When I say logistics, I mean in terms of getting stuff moved around, and that's where those jump freighters come in. So thank you for what you do. But droning off the first two, or sorry, missiling off the first two, and I can switch over to drones for the remaining two small baddies. For the bigger ones, have to get out the missile. Yeah, exactly. It's pretty much AFK ISK making. The amount of ISK is what's in question. I don't know if you've tried doing high-sec PI, but I have a couple of alts that live in or near JITA, and so I had PI stuff set up in perimeter, and just the return on that was dismal. So bad. But low sec improves a bit. Null sec is obviously where the bulk of it is made, but wormholes are, just as good as the best null sec in this sense. So if you ever, I think Pandemic Horde has a wormhole group. So if you ever consider diving in, then picking a wormhole that has good PI can certainly be a consideration. Super lazy stuff. Well, it's super lazy, and it's pretty much passive ISK. It's free ISK for a couple of clicks per week, right? There's people that put a ton of effort into it. Like all three of the characters I have logged in this wormhole right now are involved in the PI stuff I'm doing in here. But it doesn't need to be that. It can be as easy as you like, and you get a bit out for that effort. No, stay away from my drones. Okay, he's not applying damage very well, so I'll leave that guy out there for now. Yeah, you'll see when I activate the Bastion that all the tackle stuff goes away, because Bastion mode breaks all that tackle. Pretty handy. I've used it to escape out of some pretty sticky situations. Another place those come in handy, if you've never done one of those NPC mining operations, those response fleets can be painful. Those things can be pretty rough. But one thing I found is that if you Bastion up, the tackle doesn't immediately reinitiate the tackle stuff when you come out of Bastion. And so if you get tackled killing off that hauler, you can Bastion up, break tackle, sit there and try to kill off Logi if you can, because you can't kill off the tackle. They always have Logi there. But if you Bastion up, once you come out, they don't retackle immediately, so you can activate your MJD, bounce off with that strong box, and off you go. How much are you pulling per month with your PI stuff? I mean, if you pay attention to it. Like if I pay attention to the stuff I'm doing in this wormhole, I can pull a bit. I can pull probably somewhere around 500 million between the three characters. This is the final one for this. Oh! Right as soon as I hide the UI. Okay, call drones. All stuff. So as I said, now I'm gonna do some more boring stuff. Gonna go salvage. Okay, save that. Pretty sure I did. Yep. Okay.
Warp drive active.
Orbill. Damn, nice work, dude. No wonder you can toss 10 dough around for a jump freighter.
Welcome to the Space Jam. Here's your chance, do your dance at the Space Jam. Alright.
That's an impressive take for Beyond. Okay, actually, I'm gonna have to close off the stream here shortly. So, if you want to hang out some more, I am gonna try to stream a bit more. I'll be streaming other things as well. Null set, carrier ratting, super ratting, black ops, hot drops, all sorts of good stuff there. So go ahead and give me a follow if that seems to work for you. I've also got some stuff up on YouTube. I'll be putting up more, but want to thank you again for hanging out with us and interacting. It was nice meeting you, and see you all on the battlefield. Aloha.